Okay, good morning. Today's date is March 10, 2025. It's 9 o'clock. We please rise for the pledge of allegiance followed by the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Williams, you'll do the prayer this week or this time?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have granted us. Father, be with us as we do the business of Mills County. Guide us and direct us in all our actions. Please bless our land with some rain. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We have a full quorum today. And number 2, review and act on minutes of February 24th, 2025. Now, thank you, choose commissioners. You go through the minutes, so everything looks.
The only one I saw, again, I wasn't at the last Commissioner's Court, Judge,
Yes.
but number 9
Okay.
was a consider an act. And y'all took no action. If it's a consider an act, an action has to be taken.
Yes, I understand that.
And so it should have been just like an action to table or something, but
The attorney at the time and for something.
okay. Pretty sure if it's a considered act, you gotta have some kind of action. But we can double check.
Defer to council.
You know, I'll double check, but if there's no motion or no second, then there's no action to be taken. Well, I'll double check.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
think if it calls for an action, you might look at that, but I think if it calls for an action, you have to have an action, but okay. I'm not 100% up on my rule of Robert's rules.
Previous county attorney was shaking his head, so I don't know.
No, you don't have to take any action, but it should just reflect no action taken.
What it does.
Yeah.
It does say that. It does say that.
Well, action taken.
No action is an action, right?
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen, on the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion been made by Commissioner Head to approve the minutes. Second. That second has been made by Commissioner Sullivan. All those in favor of approve the minutes, February 24th, 2025, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Okay, abstain. Okay, yeah, Commissioner Williams abstained, sorry. Okay, audience individuals, I know we have some people to speak on some topics later, but no audience individuals, number 3. Number 4, review and act on accounts payables. Commissioners, you'll go through the accounts payables.
I have some questions. Talked to Jackie a while ago. I guess it's just a clarification deal. Maybe somebody from the sheriff's department knows. It was credit cards, but they were all $25 credit.
We went to a training and I told them not to spend over $25.
So they just swipe the card however many times.
There were 4 of us that went to training. $25 apiece.
All on one furnish.
the other thing I got, coming back to. Precinct one's deal, and I know that, everybody's looked at the handbook. Previously, we were all told that we could not, have large distances unless you were gone overnight, and then it was to be reviewed. But, can't do anything, I guess, right now, but that handbook needs to be addressed, it needs to be addressed pretty firmly. As to where and when meal expenses can be done.
Okay, you want that on the next Commissioners Court agenda, Commissioner Parton?
Well, whenever we do the handbook.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that thing reads just about as clear as mud.
Well, it does say if you go out of county and you buy lunch, then you should be reimbursed for that amount.
Yeah, and Brown County would be out of county.
If you go to Brown County at 11:30 and you buy lunch, you should be reimbursed.
They're going to be some of the budget.
Yeah.
Because
I agree with you there.
this thing right here, there's 23 food purchases in this budget. And we've been told ever since time I was there, that unless you're gone overnight, you cannot join. That's not what the handbook says. Me, it's one of those deals that needs to be addressed, and we need to come up with something final for everybody.
Okay,
They want to redo that. It hadn't been touched since 22, but, all of a sudden this is becoming an issue.
okay. Any other questions or comments, Commissioners, on the accounts payables?
I make a motion, we approve the accounts payables.
Motion been made by Commissioner Williams,
I'll second
and second by who was that?
it, me.
Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the accounts payables, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Commissioners, consent agenda, another busy month for all departments in Mills County.
It's the treasurer on, she's not online.
She is not.
Well, I had a question on. I guess I can go after her after this. On this one, she's given our checking account funds and stuff. She's got 2 journal entries. It says they were corrected after the last one, and I was curious of what that has to be. Also, she sent us our, budget analysis, and on the budget analysis, some of those figures are different from last month. Why those are different. It says year to date. Last month, some of them were like $116,000, and then this month it's like 96. So how did they go backwards? So I'm wondering if that's part of her journal entry, so. So I guess,
She's got a little bumps going around. She's not downstairs.
Yeah, she's sick today. She'll be about a few days.
so I guess we'll question that on the next meeting.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Commissioners, comments?
Then agenda.
Motion has been made to approve the consent agenda. I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to action agenda, Mr. Wayne Barr, are you able to hear me, Mr. Barr? Good morning. Hang on a second. Annette,
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Barr, are you there, sir?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Wayne Barr.
How are you?
Since we've had Mr. Barr come through us several times, Eckerd and Company, who does our audit out in Angelo. And, we thank you for coming via Zoom, Mr. Barr. And, I know we've just talked to you several times and, commissioners may have some questions regarding our audit. So I will turn everything over to you, Mr. Barr.
All right. Good morning. If you would turn over a couple of pages to the first letterhead page, which I believe is on page 1, if you will. But there's a letterhead page that says Independent Auditors Report. So basically what this report says is that the financial statements are the responsibility of management, the county. Our responsibility as auditors is to express an opinion, and the opinion on these financial statements are these are a fairly presented financial statements. It's a good, clean opinion without any things that we had to report in the audit. So it's a good, clean opinion. And again, gentlemen, I'm going to hit just highlights of the audit. So if you would turn over to page 9. On page 9, you have a statement of net position, which this financial statement incorporates all of the funds of the county into one financial statement. The only thing that is excluded are your JP office, your clerk's office, tax assessor collector's office. Those are excluded from this financial statement. But this incorporates everything, has all of your cash, all of your capital assets, all of your debt in this financial statement. In the same way on pages 10 and 11, this is what we call a statement of activities, which reports your revenues and expenditures of the county. Again, for all funds of the county, except those that I just mentioned. The most important couple of statements are on page 12, begins on page 12. This is your balance sheet for the county. So if you'll call your attention to the first column towards the very bottom, 2 numbers from the bottom, 5.396 million. That is your fund balance in your operating fund as of September 30. And then, of course, we have your road and bridge funds, your law enforcement funds. Then on page 13 is other funds. So on page 13, the far right column is all of your governmental funds. And then on page 15 and 16 is the revenues and expenditures, again, for all those same funds. So again, the most important one probably at the very bottom, or I'm sorry, the very first column, the very bottom, you see the 5.396 million. You began the year, the figure right above that, 4.3 million. So you had an increase in fund balance in your general operating fund of a little over $1 million during this fiscal year. Then on pages 18 and 19, these are financial statements for those funds I excluded earlier, which is your clerk's office, your tax office, JP, etc. So you have your net position here on 18, and then your changes in net position on page 19. Beginning on page 20, we begin what we call standard footnote information related to the audit. probably some of the more details that we need to visit with or just mention briefly. Over on page 25 at the very bottom, this is a schedule that shows the transfers that the general fund supplemented the various funds. Law, road and bridge, law, and just other non-government, other non-major governmental funds. 26. At the top of the page, page 26, is your capital asset information. Now, I remind the commissioners, the capital assets are based on historical cost, not market values. So it shows your land, buildings, machinery and equipment, etc. So if you look at the very far right column, 15,386,000, that is the net capital assets, net of depreciation as of September 30.
Let me ask a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
On buildings and improvements,
Yes, sir.
the second column, it says additions. What constitute an addition?
I don't have that directly in front of me, but it could be things such as any building and type improvements that were done or any land improvements that were done. I don't have that information directly in front of me, but I can get it for you if you would like to see it. It should be noted on the depreciation schedule that we sent to the county with the audit. And I could actually look that up real quick if you'd like to. If you would like for me to.
I mean, I understand the machinery and equipment. I just didn't understand the building and improvements. But that's fine. I can look it up.
It could have been like courthouse maintenance we've done the last year or so.
I can look it up on the depreciation schedule.
That was here, I think, is probably the bulk of it. We did some sewage disposal system improvements. We did a CCTV system improvements, elevator improvements. So that's the bulk of it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, page 27. Page 27, the top half of the page is your long-term debt. It's those, your bonds. So a useful piece of information, I think, is the bottom of the page, far right column, 7.7 million. That is what you owe on the bonds, principal and interest over time through 2040. Pages 28 through 34 is standard pension information disclosures. We're not going to spend any time there. 35, top half of the page are the tax abatement information. And of course, the bottom half was the EMS services agreement. All right, let's go to page 36. This is a required budget comparison schedule for your general operating fund. First column is your original adopted budget. Second column is your final amended budget. Third column is actual results. Fourth column is a variance. So if you'll look at the second column, very bottom, you estimated based on final amended budget, 4.4 million in fund balance. You came in at 5.3, nearly 5.4. So you came out $974,000 to the good, if you will, as of September 30. And then the same information on the next page, 37, which is your road and bridge fund budget comparison. 38 is your law enforcement fund budget comparison. 39 is your interest in sinking fund budget comparison. So there are no violations there that we had to report in the audit. Page 46, which is another letterhead page, just a couple of pages on over. This is a report on internal control over financial reporting and compliance. So if we had had a situation such as a bidding issue or a budget compliance issue, anything that is required by the state or for compliance purposes, it would have been reported here. And I'm happy to report we did not have any of those for this fiscal year. And the only other thing I have to report is it's just a management letter comment related to during our audit procedures, we noted that some of the monthly reports were not remitted from the clerk's office in a timely manner. Typically, what we like to see is those done within the next month after the close of the month. So it's something that we noted during the audit. We don't see it as a major issue, but we felt like we needed to communicate that to the commissioners. That basically, in a nutshell, is the audit for the fiscal year. It was a good audit, good, clean audit. Your staff does a great job.
Compliments all departments for doing a great job. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Barr?
I have one more question on page 40.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Item number F, net pension liability.
Yes, sir.
What made it change on that percentage so much from last year?
Probably for the most part would be your earnings on the account, inside the account. So if you look at about midway up, net investment income, notice it was $939,000. The previous year it had lost money. So that's probably the bulk of it. This information is provided to us directly by TCDRS. So we just incorporate that into the audit. We don't audit it because they are audited by, I believe, the state auditor's office. But that's probably the bulk of your change right there, or some of it anyway. So basically you went from a $543,000 liability the previous year to $137,000 this year. So that was good.
I just wanted to make sure I was reading that correct on that big difference.
Correct.
Okay, I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Commissioners, anything else? Well, Mr. Barr, thank you again. Thanks to all the departments for all the hard work you do keeping these rolling.
Well, thank you. If you have any questions at any time, be sure and reach out.
Sir,
Here are no questions. I'll make a motion that we approve the audit report from Eckert and Company for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion been made, second by Mr. Commissioner Williams. Any other comments? All those in favor of approving the audit from Eckert and Company, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Barr, have a great day.
Thank you.
Number 6, consider an act on bids for handicap entrance for 1888 sidewalk repair and related matters. So 2 weeks ago, commissioners, it was suggested we get another bid out. And Mr. Coronado came through sometime this weekend, got this information back to Guy, and we got it printed out this morning. It's lying as well, I can get it to you. So I'll back up a little bit. So last time at Commissioner's Court, there's some questions arose about interior doors and whatnot, which we've researched, and these interior doors are immaterial to what we're doing. We're doing a handicap entrance to the building. Now suggested we look at the other side on the east side of the building. which, as you can see, Commissioners, we got a quote from Mr. Coronado, and it is a little higher. And I also want to bring to the court's attention, which I've been doing some research. There's also several other factors involved that I didn't get quotes for. So if I remember all these, one is electrical repair, we'd have to take that street light out. So there's one electrical repair out there. There's water downspout that have to be moved or changed. Two, there's 3 vents that are on the south side of the building. Actually, two vents on the south side of the building that would be blocked. The guy help me out, I'm forgetting another one or two. Oh, there's a natural gas line that have to be redirected. That's there. Also, at our meeting, Mills County Historical Commission meeting last week, Gerald brought up the fact that it's probably also could be in the way of a TxDOT easement. TxDOT on Fisher Street owns nearly to all the buildings, including the sidewalks, which I never did consult with TxDOT on that.
Building, but boundary line.
The boundary line's up on the sidewalk,
Boundary line includes both of the sidewalk.
most of the sidewalk.
Does it on the on the courthouse side? I knew it did on the other side, because that's why I moved my building back.
I don't know what it is out here, a surveyor would have to tell you. But most of the sidewalks in Goldway are actually.
Is the sidewalk on Fifth Street, is that city's or is that ours?
Sidewalk going this way would be the city.
So you'd have to have city's permission.
We have the sidewalk on south would be there.
Right, so when we did the sidewalk over there at the senior center, we had to have the city's permission to do anything to the sidewalk.
One other thing that Mr. Coronado would have to do, if we do on the east side, going on the south side, he'd have to jackhammer up the old concrete, because it's criminal law. Was another one of the factors that made it a little bit higher. Now, as I mentioned,
After jackhammer, that's what.
well, on the south side, it's crumbling is what, Guy, you reported to me that on the south side?
Yeah. So what we explained to me
It's not-
was.
Turn it on.
So, it's on, needs batteries. There we go. Maybe it was just the phones. So, what Louis explained to me is that the old concrete is not, it's not solid. It's gonna crumble. If he puts new concrete on top of it, it's gonna crumble. Just like the sidewalk did out here where that lip ran across it. So he would have to replace all of that foundation concrete.
Not the steps, I mean, the steps have to go in their board.
No, not the steps, but the sidewalk itself where he builds a landing on top and, you know, because he said he doesn't want to pour on top of that old concrete and then have it bust all up and then that, you know.
So one thing I want to ask, and I watched last Commissioner's Court, and one thing that the treasurer questioned is doing, the work with Louis Coronado, because he has just bid on 3 of my projects and all of them were gonna be over. Some of them are gonna be over 50,000. And so now we're putting his on top of this, so, you see what I'm saying? So his company is gonna be more than 50. And so this is not been reached out to through the bid process.
Already checked on that and got reports that separate jobs are different. This is a separate job from all of the stuff he's doing. I talked to Mr. Malone about it. I talked to Gerald Hill about it.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that's what she said on the last Commissioner's Court. And I was just trying to make sure that since she's not here, that was one of the reasons she said you can't add stuff up. to
Yeah,
go over
on the same project, you're exactly correct. So say you're building a big warehouse or something, you try to do that way, you're right. But these are separate jobs, separate bids, no problem there. One other thing I'll comment, so the lady in charge of the architects, Ava Osborne, correct? She verbally approved it, and assuming we approve this, commissioners, what will happen, we will do an SAL permit, which is, antiquities, state antiquities. Landmark is the SAL permit, that's the acronym for it. So assume we approve it, the permit will be created by Mr. Burns and then sent to the state. And then within about a week, they should get back to us for permission to proceed, hopefully. So that's the way this would work.
For all of them or just one?
Well, just approve. Well, we got two proposals. We'll go through the process and see who wants to make a motion on each process. I'm gonna make a proposal. We do the first process, so because it's cheaper. And I just think it's gonna be a lot easier to do than all those other 5 or 6 things. Yes, sir, guy.
Of course, the first project, you gotta move the air conditioning,
They said you didn't have to.
I have sent.
you have to move it before.
No one that she, when we talked to Ava that day, she didn't say anything about the air conditioning, did it?
Actually, she did. She said something to me later.
Okay.
that She would like something built around it to hide it. But I explained to her, you can't cover up an outside unit like that because it can't draw air. So we kind of, she wasn't happy about that, but she had to settle for that.
On the landing, on the drawing of the landing.
Mhm.
Is this his bid? Cause it has a step.
Okay,
So how's that ADA getting in the
That's-
back door?
that's for the first project.
That's the one that we're considering.
That's, no, that was the one we considered last time. And then you tabled it. That,
Give this other quote.
yeah, that's this one's on the north side.
Yes,
This is the north side.
yes.
Okay, that's not the one we're talking about now. We're talking about,
We have them both here.
yeah,
We have both of them in front of us.
okay, so this is. I'm confused on what you.
What's in our packet is this drawing here.
That was from, you weren't here for the last, you weren't.
Correct, but it's, both of them are in here. There's this.
We got both,
one
we
and-
got both the 6.
Like copies of this again.
Okay, this was in Fort Latin, so that's not
So this is trash.
correct. Well,
It's an option.
it's not, it was tabled. This
Okay.
is the new option. This is on the east entrance, going down the south side ramp. This one is on
Okay,
the,
okay, you're not following me. There's 2 bids here.
One,
One is Fifth Street and one is the one from last week.
yes,
The one from last week, which is still a bid, has a step in their bid to go in that back door. It is not level to go in that back door.
No, it is not. There's 2 steps.
There's 2 steps, but there's still 1 step in that. So how is that, if we're trying to make it ADA compliant, why is there a step in there?
there shouldn't be a step there.
There should be a step, I don't know.
There is
Yes,
one
yeah.
today.
Yes, but
I saw one today.
I'm just asking, this is what you're bringing.
You're talking about on the north side entrance.
North side entrance, there's 2 steps there now, but in the bid here that's in our packet today is still 1 more step. A landing with a step.
No, a landing.
Well, it has a landing with a step.
I think you're interpreting the door is what he drew there. I think that's what he's interpreting the door. He didn't put a step in there for the landing. He knows it's handicap entrance. I think that's just showing the door to the jail that came out of the port. That he saw.
on the other.
Now, on the east side, those steps will come out there, it'll just be a landing. And then on this last week on that north side, I don't know why that's there.
Okay, and then,
I will,
so I was confused on, and also it says 4th Street. Does he mean 5th Street?
It's not.
He's running Fifth Street over here. So it's on the south side.
The only one that Eva Osborne approved was this one on
The north side.
She has not.
Yes.
So you don't have anything in writing. You don't get anything in writing until it's done, correct?
so, correct, the process is we come up with a proposal. The Commissioner's Court approves it. We submit an SAL permit application. And Texas Historic Commission approves it, get the work done. Then we have to do a closing, a completion. and submit that.
So they still will sign off on what we.
Yes, sir. Once we put in and get an SAL permit approved, we can get all the work done on the grounds. We can get the sidewalk repaired, we can get the handicap entrance built, the ramp. It covers the entire courthouse square. So we can add things onto the permit, but that's the process, how that works, so.
Ms. Lynetta, do you have anything you need to add?
I have samples of SAL permits and I have a whole packet here, what they made, if you would be interested in knowing about them. There are only 3 properties in the county, in Mills County: Regency Bridge, the courthouse, and the jail. That's the only historical landmark properties we have. So this is all that we're doing.
And I forgot to add possibly our Mills County Historical Commission has also signed off on this project on the north side.
We have discussed it for many months and many years. Rick Barr originally told me to put it on the north side. But of course, he wanted to move the trash can and put it,
And use the ramp.
yeah,
That's already there.
and go in that back.
That's what, when we redid the courthouse, that's what that ramp was for, to go in the back door of the jail.
That's exactly right. But nobody wants to move the guys, especially, nobody wants to move the trash can.
Well, we can't leave them in the street. I've checked on that too.
I don't have a dog in this hunt.
There is another place to put it. We can put it with another trash can. So-
Well, it needs to
Well-
be convenient to the maintenance personnel.
Sure.
I just got one comment about the new set of plans here. When you come up on this landing, I know this is something would be extra, but shouldn't there be a set of steps on the north side of that landing? So you can access that
Probably
door?
so, yeah.
That's probably a great idea.
Yeah, probably
So you
so.
can access it this way, going up and down steps, or you use wheelchair.
Because you block the top.
I don't know as far as like if you have a wheelchair and you're coming up that ramp and then you've got an open set of steps there. I don't know if that's doable on ADA. I would have.
I don't know, but I mean, to me, it was just, I was just looking at that going, was, if you
Yeah.
park anywhere here, you gotta walk all the way around if you do.
If I was to guess, I would say that once that ramp comes up and you're on the landing, that there are rails and a curb. As well, from what I understand, there's a curb so that the wheelchair can't go off of the ramp or the landing. So if you just had an opening there for steps to go down, I don't know if that's within the ADA compliance or not.
I don't know about the historical, but they have just completed a huge project at the Fort Worth Stop Show. And they do have that, they do have steps and have landing, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I mean,
Yes.
nothing to prevent its time, but that is just modernly.
I mean,
Just done.
I agree with the commissioner that that's a good idea to put steps there.
Well, if you cover that vent, if you covered that vent, there's no gas working in that building now.
That's correct.
So the gas lines don't hold no water.
That's correct.
The one vent that you would be covering, is that crucial?
I don't know the answer to that.
No.
For if you got gas under the, if you have gas under the building, you gotta have it vented, and if the gas line don't work,
Gas lines cut off.
I've heard one vent would be closed. I've heard 2 vents be closed. He said one. Who said 2 at one time? I was told 2 by.
There's 2 vents over, but you just be covering one. With around, the way we measured that.
of course, if you look at this one here, Dale, this ramp goes 30 feet,
30 feet.
No.
well, maybe 21
I
feet.
think that ramp's gonna go all the way to that gas line, and if it goes all the way to that gas line, it's gonna be covering both vents. That's my understanding. Yeah, I know, Louis came back and measured 30.
It's like I was telling Craig though, it's one of those you get to.
What was
Like
it?
the road, if the road is dropping here, then you're gonna have to make
Yeah.
a ramp for it.
And, I think there was one more step up to the actual threshold that wasn't factored in, so it'd be another foot, yeah.
Yeah. We figured to the top of the bill was, that was 24 inches was.
Yeah, it's at 21, this Louis measured it to come out to 30, so I think it says, yeah.
So on this new bid that he's given, this new estimate, this one does not require any.
I just talked to him on the phone and he gave me, he texted me, he would want 11, half of it up front, 11,000.
So
So it's
that bid
22,000.
is all messed up. So 11,000.
I actually think that your parking situation, if we could get, is it Tech Dot on that side? Yeah.
Text dots
If
on.
we get Tech Dot, your parking situation would be better over here. I still don't think that the ADA ramp that we currently use is legal.
The one off of Fisher Street. Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it was there before I got here, so I can't answer that easily. I just,
You know, if they go by the 112, we know it's not. Place, well.
Okay, what other information, Guy, can you present to us relevant to this matter? Anything else I've forgotten?
Can we approve one of them and since it seems like there's a lot of unknowns on this other one, can we approve the getting the sidewalk fixed?
that's one thing I was gonna bring up is
I
that
mean, it's.
I've got a traffic cone out there right now and it's just a matter of time before somebody comes along with a walker or a wheelchair and then we'll have a liability issue.
These two aren't tied together, right?
No, sir. Other than Louis would like to do them both at the same time, make it cheaper, so we can do it in one pour, but
But he didn't bid it that way.
no, I asked him to separate the bids because they're gonna be coming out two
It will be
separate.
cheaper.
It'll be cheaper, but
So is he gonna go up on it if we do them separately?
I will call him and ask him.
Well, what's concrete gonna do? Yes, and probably up higher next time we get a quote on.
Well,
But he's gonna-
that and you probably got, you'll have a double delivery charge.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cause for that one, if we have double delivery charge from Thornbury
But
County.
there's not a delivery charge on it now?
It's probably, he wants to try to pull both at the same time, he probably got a delivery charge.
So originally when we worked up the proposals, I said, give me two proposals because we're gonna pay him out of two different accounts. But he wanted to do all the work at one time. That was how the proposals came up.
to refresh the course on regarding the payment, I think I brought this up last time, the handicap ramp would come out of the 1888 restoration fund, which we have plenty of money. 16,000, the sidewalk repair would come out of the building improvement fund.
Right.
So that's where the money would come from. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Only other than may or may not. Now, we have a pretty good place over here that's raised. Where the concrete is raised up. On this side of the building.
Yeah. Whether we would say.
Yeah,
what's that?
That's,
on this is the handicap accessible. That was in this time. I was in the courthouse. There will be something in the historic. There's only one handicap accessible area into the courthouse.
right,
And that's over on.
right.
So this being raised would be just, to me, is important.
I'm not following.
He's talking about repairing that one over there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's on my to-do list. That's repairs.
We got a lot of future repairs.
Yeah, according to the ADA for historical buildings, okay. There's no exception, I mean, we're not, you can't just avoid the ADA, but what they do is they make an adjustment that there only has to be one handicap entrance to the building. That's the exception for historic buildings. The interior doors, they want you to be reasonable. They do not want the walls knocked down. They do not want doors open. They don't want the structure damaged in any way whatsoever. So they make exceptions for the inside. As long as you can get a wheelchair through them, because in the 1888 jail, there's doors in there that are, most of them are like 30 inches wide. Wheelchair's 25, so you can still get in. But as far as the courthouse itself, it's only required one handicap entrance. That doesn't mean you can't have more, but that's what's required. This handicap entrance has always had issues of people trying to get there, because you can only get there from one side. And I agree with you that it would be good to have another way to get there. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm in agreement with that. We've got issues with this sidewalk out here along the steps, and that's my next project, what I'm going to be working on for the with the improvement fund, is getting all this concrete work done. So.
Okay, commissioners, I'm ready to make a motion on this deal on the original quote. We'll take a vote on it. I'm gonna make a motion on this original vote because it's $6,000 cheaper. Thanks to their location with less factors affecting it. So I'll make a motion that we approve the original quote from the north side of the building for $16,000 on the handicap entrance and sidewalk, and $4,300 for the sidewalk repair, with Louis Coronado wanted up front $13,000. So we approve this motion.
Didn't we discuss that door you could, when you walked into that back door, you couldn't get into the other door? Or is it?
It's again, the interior door is immature. There's the wheelchair is 25 inches wide and they can get in.
Can I address that?
Yes.
Real quick? So I went back and I measured all the door openings. And the one that we were concerned about, that's not the smallest opening. The bathroom is the smallest opening, 28.5 inches. The other one, it's 30 and a quarter, 30.5 inches. So, getting it through that north entrance, that floor, of course, will have to have some lightweight concrete, which I talked to Lou and showed him that. He said he can take care of that, no problem. So it's nice and smooth for a wheelchair to get in. And that's not going to be an issue.
And the air conditioning unit is sitting there. Raise it up for the concrete, set it right now.
No, he's going to go beside.
It's gonna sound.
So you're gonna-
Yeah, it's not gonna.
Yeah, he'll build a landing that comes out, and then it'll go straight between the tree and the AC unit
The sidewalk.
with handrails, curbs, and then when it gets to the sidewalk, it'll flare out. So you can turn the wheelchair back and forth. There was some concern about the tree. I don't know, probably hit a couple of sprinkler pipes, it's PVC, we can fix that. It's doable, but that's
My still only concern, and I hear what Gerald's saying, and I hear what Bill's saying. The only thing that bothers me is on the procurement part of this, is because Summer sent us a procurement packet last week. And it says you can't separate bills to be added up from one company. I guess we should have asked Mr. Barr when he was online.
When I talked to Tack last week about that.
Because that,
Well,
it's gonna do some more for everybody.
Yeah, when I talked, and it's best clear as the mud, I mean, he said, I asked Lori Tack about that. He said, is it coming out of separate accounts or is it all coming out of road and bridge? I said, no, it'd be coming out of general fund and road, and then our little work crossing would be road and bridge. And he said, then it don't matter. But, and then I talked to Summer about it a little
And why do
bit.
we have to get fuel and?
Well, because that all comes off of road and bridge.
Different funds.
Right, and when but
They were gonna get all.
yeah, but when I talked to Summer about it, she's like, but when you do an audit, it's still gonna throw a flag, so you might as well just have everything bidded up instead of. So it's,
Just sending what she sent on this to us last week. I was sitting here reading it while he was explaining that, so.
You got a motion.
I've got a motion going, we've got a lot of discussion going on here. I've again discussed with previous county attorney, current county attorney about that matter, which again is a separate process, separate bid, not related to other county low water crossings. So I was informed. So I got a motion already started. Do I hear a second on my motion?
I'll second it, I mean, yeah.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, I'll call for vote. All those in favor of doing the original quote, with Louis Coronado on the north side, say aye. Aye. Put it here, how many was it? 3, those opposed? 2, 3-2, motion passes.
What was your payment out the door?
The total,
Your early payment, what was your early payment?
you're talking about the Louis Coronado?
Yes,
The motion included a prepayment of $13,000, correct, guy? I got that. That's for both jobs, 13,000. Sidewalk and the north side.
Upfront payment of 10,000.
Yeah, and one for 3,000.
And one for 2,000.
Yeah. Okay, moving on, consider an act on Hendricks indigent payment and related matters. Okay, we've been working on this, folks, and I'm gonna get some confusion on this, try and get this thing wrapped up. Let me find my notes. So Hendricks sent an email, or actually, Ebony Jackson sent an email. This is regarding the indigent deal for the sheriff's department. We take prisoners up to the Hendricks Hospital in Brownwood. Bills went back to 2022. They said we can pay off on the Medicare rate of roughly $5,200, which I got that exact figure in a minute. The original quote was 60 some odd $1,000. So what I got, the last wording I got, the agreement with Dale County Indigent Care provided to you on file between Brownwood Regional Hospital, Sava County, and Mills County Indigent Healthcare Program was an agreement from 1987, which has been honored and was honored up to today. I do understand Mills County Indigent Health Program wanting an update agreement. However, at this point, Hendricks Health is unwilling to renew this agreement. We currently have a Mills County jail resolution that protects Mills County's obligation to pay at the Medicare rate signed by the Commissioner's Court. And finally, Tanya Castilla from Hendricks Health confirmed they will not provide additional written documentation. She insisted the email sent will serve as binding verification for Mills County records. So, again, we discussed this and I've reached out to people. I haven't had luck contacting Hendricks myself. But I would like to make a motion. We go ahead and pay the image amount on this figure. Which, let me get that total figure.
So when, in your communication with them, if we pay that, are they going to, once this is settled, will Hendricks sign up with the Indigent Care? Or do y'all know?
I haven't got any information on that. Again, I've read it.
Amanda might be.
Amanda, come here and talk to them later.
You understand what I'm asking? I mean, if we sign it, pay it, will they sign up with us later on?
every time I've reached out to them about trying to get something worked out for us, they have not been in agreement to doing anything. Going back to when we were working on Comanche, they were refusing at that time, and nothing has changed that I've been told.
Is it? But the reason they wouldn't sign with us was it has to do with this, or do we
I'm
know?
not getting a definite answer as to why they won't sign with us.
Do we have stuff between if we sell to this and now? And we got more than.
We're gonna have more coming in. Because I've got two bills sitting right here that just recently came in that we've sent to Bell County to Mary to start the process of them getting it covered. But I mean, they're gonna continue to be rolling in because if I have an inmate come in between now and the next bill that says I've got chest pains, they're going to Hendricks. I mean, and one of these, we had an inmate that was in a mental crisis. And by law, I'm kind of stuck whenever EMS says we're going to Hendricks because that's where security is, I'm stuck.
Hendricks will take them, they just will not agree to the medical.
Exactly,
Whatever.
exactly.
All right, other questions, commissioners? I really think we need to pay this and move forward on this. We've had a good relationship with them. I know there's been some issues in the past, but I think we got the billing corrected, right, Amanda?
I don't know if we have a good relation with Hendricks. Is that?
No, I'm talking about that, Jack.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Bill County Indian Care, and they're getting very frustrated. We haven't signed off on this. So, yeah, I'm not talking
They
about.
might be getting frustrated, but they need to understand where we're coming from.
I
She
understand.
comes one time a year, and this was not mentioned when she was here last fall.
Understand.
So, you know, there's breakdown there too.
Yeah.
We've got to keep our county straight, but they've also got to keep their stuff straight.
I'll second your motion, Judge.
Well, okay, I don't know, well, let me get the right figures, let me, I don't think I've started the motion yet on that.
$1,101.48.
Yeah, I got the exact figures. Yeah, I got it, so, Commissioner, were you making the motion, or you second mine?
You say, you start. the motion.
Well,
Said
let me
move.
get this, I'll repeat my motion again, Sonia, sorry to confuse you. I'll make a motion, we agree to pay the, Mills County Indigent Care Program, with a payoff amount of $5,129.48. That's my motion. Commissioner Williams has seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the, indigent care, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Amanda. Okay, moving on. Consider an act on moving ADA compliance officer from the treasurer's office, to judge's office. Since I'm the steward of the courthouse, the treasurer was wanted this sent over to our office, which I'm glad to do. But I don't think there's much else we need about this. And I'll make a motion, we approve moving the ADA compliance officer from the treasurer's office to the judge's office. Did I hear a second? Who's that? Okay, Commissioner Williams seconded. All those in favor of approving this compliance change with ADA, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 9, consider an act on subdivision variance for Herbert family. Former County Attorney Hale, you want to come up and talk to us about that?
Okay, I'm, here for Rock Springs Land and Investments. I don't see a guy.
He left.
He knows about this, but I-
Yeah.
But what this is, Rock Springs Land and Investment Properties out here on the county road off 574, goes up past Rock Springs Cemetery.
523.
County Road 523, turn there at Clifton. Go north, and it dead ends down here. It's what used to be Harold Lott's property. Harold is, wife's name Francis.
Yeah.
Anyway, they owned all that, and Harold set up this Rock Springs Land Investments Corporation, which has title to this, and there's 4 kids involved: Richard, Allen, Sandra Gale, guy's wife, and Peggy Herbert. Peggy and Ken Herbert. And they've done some swapping and stuff out there. Richard and Allen are out of it now. And the only ones left are Gail and Peggy. Which, so Rock Springs Land and Investment still owns, the corporation still owns, I don't know, some acreage out there. I couldn't tell you exactly how much. But anyway, Peggy and Ken built their house on Rock Springs property. So they don't have title to their house. And, they're wanting, they have cut off the house in 1 acre. With an easement that goes down to the county road, the dead end to the property. And they're technically that fits the definition of a subdivision. And they're asking the court to grant variance to allow the Rock Springs to deed just that 1 acre in the easement to Peggy and Ken. That's the bottom line. But nobody has any intention of doing any more subdividing or anything else. They're just want-
And the road that he's talking about goes directly to the house.
Yeah.
Dead ends at the county road, it's not but a couple hundred yards or.
Yeah, there's basically pasture road that goes from into the county road up to their house. Been there for some time.
And commissioners, there would be, if we approve a $200 fee that pays the clerk's office.
I'll answer any questions if I can.
Questions, commissioners?
They paid for the variance.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Okay. Any other
Make
questions?
a motion that we approve the subdivision variance for the Herbert family that is presented.
I'll second it.
Second,
Well, the motion been made by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Horton. All those in favor, say aye. Just have it. Now,
Judge, my fault, but just down here at the bottom, we'll put approved.
yes,
And you sign it.
be glad to.
Help her.
You want to lay it on the.
Probably on the revised form.
Okay. Want to do it now or wait till we finish or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Did you want to talk about this next topic that's coming up or? No?
So in other words, don't move, historical.
Yeah, we got that approved. Number 10, report from Mills County Historical Commission. You one time said you would do it, Lynette's not. Let me know that.
She's the ball.
She is the chair. I thought she might add comments. Hello, good morning again.
It's already been covered. I'm happy with the north entrance being used for
Okay.
yeah, well, if we have any wheelchairs.
Yes.
Let me, she's not gonna say it, so I'm gonna say it. First of all, we're grateful to have Lynette doing this.
Yes.
We've been,
He's next up, that's why he's great.
for a long time. I know she spent a lot of time on this. She recently completed a survey report that's required to be submitted to the state office. And that the Mills County Historical Commission is created by statute, by legislative action. We have bylaws that are consistent with that, but the law says every 2 years, the commission, local commission, the board has to reconstitute itself. And so in January, Bob, the year, we have a new board.
We did that last month, yes.
Lynetta has put together a folder, I think, that she gave everybody that.
They have their yearbooks.
And I inquired as to who the gentleman was on the cover.
It's Uncle Robert.
She indicated me it was her uncle,
Well, it was my daddy's uncle.
who happened to be the judge in Brown County at the time Mills County was Arlen.
Yes.
We'd have to thank him a lot for helping Mills County.
I doubt if he wanted to, that was contentious at the time. There's still some Brown County people that aren't too pleased that they lost part of their property.
So every
Let me finish. We meet the first Tuesday of every month over here at the old jail. And our meetings are open and we'd love for the Jed Johnson, our county judge, is an ex officio member. He participates on the regular basis.
He has been very helpful.
We're certainly all open to anybody who wants to come meet.
Yes, do you get the emails I send you every time?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason you have to report the commissioner's court every year on what's going on.
Every
Every January.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead, Ms. Lynette.
I really didn't have anything to say. I was going to speak on this other topic, so. Since that's already been voted, I don't think it's necessary for me to speak. But you are willing to come or to ask questions anytime that you want to, and we appreciate the work that you do. We appreciate the money you have provided in the last couple of years. This project has been going on for 12 years. I would really like to finish it in my lifetime.
I also want to add, Lynette Estates, been lots of emails coming from the state, she has to respond to, a lot of emails, a lot more than people realize. And again, keeping track of all this, property, cemeteries, on and on, so that's all what she does, and the groups.
I have other contentious things going on.
Yeah. We did a
I'm
great job.
building a new gate for the Durham Cemetery, and some of my relatives aren't pleased.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say one more thing about this handicap deal. Most of us that come to these meetings are not young anymore. We've had one lady fall, trying to get in there, and, Steve Mason and Keith Brooks helped her up.
They didn't have much help, was it?
But
So-
Everett got in, she's 90 years old from Ebony, she got in with no problem at all, and she brought her wheelchair cart or whatever that thing is. And then Keith helped her out the door so kindly, and she drove off.
Yeah.
She's still
I
riding.
did prefer to be angry.
Okay, I know. y'all.
But hopefully the next month or so we'll have a new handicap going.
Okay, I hope it works as it should.
Right, Annette, Gerald, thank you. Okay, that's the report from Mills County Historical Commission. Number 11, discussion on procedure of grant applications and related matters. Commissioner Williams, you want to take this?
Well, it's just been a lot of discussion on how that procedure, is going to happen, and, the treasurer asked me to make sure that we have this discussion. She wants to make sure that we put this in, some kind of procedures or a policy or something to know that the applications are being filed and where they're supposed to be placed. And so without some of her knowledge that she's not here today, I don't quite these E-grants that we're gonna be talking about, I guess is the next item. Is that the?
Well, we're gonna discuss it.
The E-grants and then procedures for grants and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, y'all usually apply for more grants than anybody, the sheriff's department, when I say y'all. But I've never done the E-grants before. I reached out to COG, and the COG has offered E-grants forever. And usually the judge in the sheriff's department who's there signs off on those. Reading what the statute says, grants change the budget. And so you have to have how that's going to work in those procedures. The treasurer did give us a Tom Green County grant procedures, and that she wanted us to present. I guess this falls under the consider act of the next one.
Yes.
So, I mean, that is presented here. I mean, I don't know what else because this was tabled from last commissioner's court, correct? Some of this, the E-grants.
Well, first of all, we'd have it tabled, and Sheriff may want to comment on some of the stuff too. So our policies are, which we've done this before last year, I think with, Chief Deputy Garza. There are sometimes resolutions required by the court before anything can be submitted as far as grants, which that was a process we definitely did. Some counties also, I don't know if it's been here, we have to have matching grants, which of course has to go to Commissioner's Court to be approved. What's in question was this from, and David Shaw may be available via Zoom if you hear me. This was from David Shaw came, we had a deadline, time constraint, 2 or 3 days to get this thing submitted, these submitted grants. Now, these are not approved grants, and they will still be brought to Commissioner's Court, assuming we get whatever percent for the whole court's approval, whether or not to accept them. But due to time constraints, that's why I signed off on that. Now, I visited with numerous people, and I welcome these people I visited with, welcome the court to visit with them. I visited with the Hamilton County Judge Yates, Cincinnati Judge Foley, Llano County Judge Cunningham, Lampasas County Judge Hoyer. All the judges do the same procedure, what I just did, mainly due to time constraints. You hate to miss out on something. And again, it will still be brought to Commissioner's Court of whatever percentage is approved. I think it's good for a small county like this to have that capacity. I hate to miss out on a grant due to a time deadline or something.
I think it is, but why are our time constraints so short?
Well, I
Did
didn't
they only
know
give us
about it.
2 weeks from when these e-grants were posted?
Oftentimes, when you're looking for those grants, even finding one, it depends on the time period in which you find. In other words, those grants do last a little longer than that. Pardon me while I deal with all this pollen that we got floating around these days. Oftentimes, when you find those grants, there's not a lot of time for that submission. So in some of those circumstances, if you had to present that to Commissioner's Court, time to get it on the agenda, then the next Commissioner's Court meeting, it just doesn't seem reasonable to me to restrain anyone applying for the sheriff's office, for example, is who I would be speaking in reference to keep us from applying for those grants. And most certainly, gentlemen, I'll tell you that any time that we are awarded any one of those grants, we most certainly know that that information would have to come to you. However, at the same time, there's those grants that you apply for that you don't get any part of them because there's not money for those. So I think advising y'all are asking for the opportunity to apply would be hindering instead of allowing us to go ahead and apply for the grant. Should we receive those grant monies, then certainly we would be in Commissioner's Court advising of that, and then in what course that would be spent. But
Sure. Historically, I've been here with several sheriffs. They've always historically come to us and said, hey, we're applying for this grant. And so they've let us know. And so I think what everybody's a little bit concerned about is we didn't know about this. And so I don't know, I mean, I think that's the more what the treasurer's office is saying, though he did not know. And then she gets a phone call saying, hey, where are these grants gonna be going? You have applied for these grants, and she did not have and it wasn't performed. So I think it's just a failure of communication is all I think it is, but.
one of the things that I'm asking, I understand that could possibly be a failure to communicate here. I'm just asking that you not make it a rule that we have to come here. I will be completely transparent in any one of those circumstances. Just don't find us to where the Commissioner's Court has to approve the application of.
David, are you on?
To apply, and then.
Yes, sir. I'm here, Judge.
I see here some of these that David applied for, and I understand the time constraint, and of course, David certainly can speak for himself, and I'm sure what he went into was he found that these were about to be a deadline on this grant when he applied for it. And let me say, each one of these things that he did apply for, all of those are very important things to us, and some of them to the sheriff's office, and some of them to the emergency management coordinator's position, or the emergency management director's position. So when we think of these grants and things that we see that David asked for here, those are not things that would be his, but things that would belong to the emergency management position in this county. I mean,
And I'm not saying that they're not, because I haven't seen that. I mean, David did mention some of them to me, but I haven't seen that list, so I'm not even going to what they are or whatever. I'm just talking about the policy or the procedures of how we're gonna do grants. I mean, I'm not taking it away. We need all the grant help we can get, don't get me wrong, so.
yes, absolutely. And that's the only thing that I'm asking. That's the only thing I'm speaking to at this point is just, please don't make it where we have to come to Commissioner's Court to apply for it. Now, if there is a granting on that grant, then most certainly we'll be standing here. And I'm not even opposed to coming and standing here and say, hey, guys, we just applied for this grant. If that's what you need, I am happy to do it, but please don't make it
Well, we got Mr. David Shaw on Zoom. David's out on vacation this week, but it's nice enough to hook up wherever he is on Zoom. David, you got any comments, sir?
Good morning, Judge. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
So just to go back to answer Commissioner Williams' comments on the policy or the procedure, I do agree with the procedure in that in my past roles, multiple counties, the issue of coming before Commissioners Court and advising them that we're looking at or possibly applying for those grants, I kind of agree with the sheriff, is that that's not something we would come before Commissioners Court, because every year those grants are presented and we look at those grants and to see where there's opportunities to support the county. So I understand both sides of the equation. I think, Judge, what you were alluding to earlier is that if we do indeed get funding, if they do allocate funds for us via the e-grant application, then that's the time and the place where we come back before the court and say, hey, we were awarded X amount of dollars. We'd like to have a discussion on how best to use those funds now going forward. But the process of actually doing the grant submission, it can be a time crunch. And again, I apologize for this year's submissions. I just didn't have a lot of time to write those. It takes a little time to put a grant together. And so when I saw that we didn't have any grants going in from Mills County, I didn't want to miss that opportunity. So I did rush those grants applications and try to get you to get those submitted. As the grant writer, I'm not able to authorize those. That's typically the county judge makes the decision to submit those. And that's basically just saying, hey, I'm certifying these grants are coming from Mills County. That's the process that we're in right now. So I support everything that's being said. I'm not sure how valuable a full-fledged procedure that the sheriff is kind of referencing. I think that hinders some of our operation and hinders some of our abilities to do things quickly. But again, I see it from both standpoints.
Is if a grant comes in, let's say it's $500,000, but you have a 50% match. We got to know, hey, we can't afford that. We didn't put it in this year's budget. Because all we have is budgetary concern. We don't have what you do. So my thing of it is, even if we get it, where are we going to get the money? So then you're going to be turning it down. And so some other company or county lost that getting that. I don't want to take that away from anybody. So that's where I wanted it up front.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, resolution, sure, before the court submitted, and also match has to be approved before being submitted.
I think that's certainly the way it should be done. If there's a matching grant that you're applying for, I most certainly think that would involve y'all's.
So again, but there's no policy saying that. That's what I'm saying.
So as
that's what the treasurer's wanting or the auditor's wanting. So that we're covering ourselves on the financial side. I'm not trying to take away from somebody needing to pick up or, whatever. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to make sure that the financial audit is correct so that we still keep that A rating.
Okay. Any other discussion on this matter, gentlemen?
The only thing I got in this may be for David and Sheriff Jones. But basically this grant, I mean, there's some other stuff in it, but basically it's pickup. 49.5 is for pickup.
that's interesting.
Who is gonna drive this pickup? Because David's on a contract with the county. He's not actually a county employee. There is no budget set up for EMS or EMC to put fuel in it, to maintain it. There's nothing in this budget cycle. So if it, and we don't know on the insurance, I don't think anybody check on it. So to me, that stuff needs to be up front.
So I think that would be something that, like I said, all of these, most of these things that have been applied for in this grant would be things that would further that emergency management director's position through his EMC. And that would probably be some procedural stuff that y'all would have to take a look at and see how you wanted to do that. So if you've got a contract position, do you want that contract position operating county vehicles and things of that nature? When we think about that EMC position, it's a very important one to us. So I think there would be a benefit, a great benefit for the county, and for all of us, to fund it as much as possible, however we set it up. And y'all certainly have the ability to set that up in whatever manner that you want. You can arrange that where a contract man can operate county equipment. I mean, all that takes is just writing that into procedural operations. But this, EMC position is gonna be very important to us. It absolutely is, in any type of circumstance. I've been into many of those situations where you didn't have those types of folks present there. Things didn't happen like they were supposed to. Hurricane deployments and things of that nature, and EMC is gonna be very important to us. So as we are all on uncharted ground here. I mean, we've not done any of this before, and the only thing that we're trying to do, all of us, is accomplish this at the least amount of expense to the county as possible. And are we going to have to make some considerations there? I think absolutely, and how we do this. Well, certainly, and when we think of that, are we gonna find ourselves in a position one of these days where we need a full-time EMC? I think we're already there. And the only thing that we've done is try to stave that off as long as possible by having the sheriff wear that hat, or the judge wear that hat, or whoever wear that hat. And the only thing that we're doing is finding ourselves in the 21st century here, trying to get this done. So certainly that is things that y'all can address and look at.
I've reached out to County Attorney Bill Malone and former County Attorney on the contract versus salary and whatnot. Bill, you want to give us your comments on that?
Yeah, I'm aware of no prohibition on a contract employee or contractor for the county using a county vehicle. I don't think there is a prohibition.
Also reached out to TAC Legal Laura Garcia, and she said really the same thing. He's your EMC, Emergency Management Coordinator, should be an issue. So
When we think of that, those are only pieces of equipment for that position. And how the man is acquired that is in that position is up to the county, whether they pay a contract or the county.
When I asked Tack about it, I said, what does your insurance policy say?
Yeah.
So,
And the deal with him being a contract employee was kind of like he just said, it was for us to get our people. Because on it before, well, the way that all transpired was, you weren't gonna be the MC.
yeah,
Yeah, he would be the MC. He was probably the shortest MC in
yeah, very short.
history.
Too much
Because
work.
Bill was watching it on YouTube, I guess.
I understand what you're going, and this may be what Bill and I talked about with related matters, but right now we're talking about procurement. And policy.
Yeah, we're going down.
We're kind of getting all, getting way out in the weeds there.
Let's agree with Commissioner Williams. So we're discussing on procedure, grant applications. If we're done with that, we'll move on to the next one. Is everybody done with that on the discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move down to number 12. Consider and act on procedures of grant applications and related matters. Okay. Sorry, cut through every office talking, Commissioner Parton, sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yeah. One other thing, and this, I think, is brought up about the office supplies for, workspace. Again, this is not per se, as Mr. Shaw will tell you, we've had several meetings, myself and, Sheriff and Mr. Shaw. The future someday of the EMS buildings, emergency management headquarters for that future emergency, as the sheriff alluded to, is to build an office, not just for EMC, but for the county commissioners, or the sheriff's department, whoever, for that disaster that hits, which we hope doesn't happen, but could happen someday. Sheriff?
Well, most certainly, anytime we have a circumstance like that, we're going to need one place where, whoever that person is, that EMC has a place to command center. When you think of that, someplace that he can get all of these things out that he has to do and then start managing that catastrophe, whatever it happens to be. So he needs, other than the front seat of a pickup, to do that. And so if we can start working our way towards that appropriation in an office space, it's only going to be beneficial for the county to do that.
So we're still discussing considering acting on procedures or grant applications and related matters. Is there anybody want to make a motion or anything or more discussion?
So in your packet, I guess not in your packet, it's not in your packet, it was sent to us from, it's not in the packet. So, it was sent to us from the treasurer to review And then this was added to the agenda. Trying to get back to the right picture. And it's Tom Green County. Did y'all all receive that?
Yes, yes, they're in the package.
And that is her recommendation, is something similar to that. We do not have to approve that. I like the checklist part of it. That's on there. Of course, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you'd have to change, wording wise. And if y'all just want to discuss this, that this is what, the auditor that's the head of the auditor for TAC sent her as recommendation for us to put in to ours. And it says, one thing that I don't know if I like this one, is the only grants of 5,000 or more are considered by the Commissioners Court to offset administrative costs in association with establishing processes, reporting, and grants. So it's putting a limit of 5,000. I don't know if that's what we want. Go back to what the sheriff has stated earlier in procedures part A. It says must receive by the Commissioner Court before an application is submitted. That's in this contract. And so you're not saying you want to be able to apply beforehand. Of course, most of it's wording. It says auditor in both places in Montgomery County. Other than that, so that's my biggest thing right there, is that she's asking. I guess that's up for discussion now. So
Would y'all be agreeable with a grant application process that involved matching funds? Would be one that would certainly come before Commissioners Court before that application is made.
Yes.
yeah, I think this could be tweaked. Yeah, I'm not necessarily loving this.
And resolutions, then at time Sheriff Poole members, we had to do resolutions for those bulletproof vests last year before they're submitted. I just don't like having to wait 2 weeks on something that pops up, from some department, before we get it approved. I think this on a grant. And again, these are not approved. Once Austin or whoever he grants says, here it comes, then it still comes to Commissioner's Court for approval.
But we have to remember that we're a government entity and we do everything to the taxpayers, and we are stewards of the taxpayers' money. So if we're just popping up and just spending money, getting money, they're gonna wanna know. That's all this is. It's an information act that they can request, and then they're gonna say, well, why didn't you know sooner? And so, I mean, I can see both sides of it, Judge. I mean, I definitely see, I mean, you're surfing on the internet and you find it, oh, wait, their deadline's tomorrow, let's do it, you know? I mean, I understand that completely. I'm going through the scholarship process right now with 2 girls. So I understand that completely. But I also see what the auditor for TAC is recommending, and I also I hear what Summer's saying. She would like to know in advance before something just, you know.
Okay.
And this paper says one week. 1 week before Commissioner's Court. So that's a 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a 3 weeks
Yeah.
window that you're getting.
Yes.
So. If you.
Judge?
Yes, sir. David, go ahead.
Yeah, just to kind of expand on what Commissioner Williams is talking about, generally speaking, and the solution may be in this policy that he's referencing, it's not like we're out just searching the internet for grants. The grants are typically always going to come from the same place. They're going to come from FEMA, they're going to come from the Department of Homeland Security, and they're going to come from the governor's office. So every year, those grant funding streams are presented. Really, it's a matter of when they open the grant season, we go and we start looking at those grant opportunities and see if we can dovetail into some of the offerings, kind of meet the criteria. So it's always going to be from those funding streams. And so we could always basically understand the only place we're going to see grants are those 3 places. And then it's just a matter of, hey, we found one over here in FEMA. We'd like to apply for this one. So I think we can meet the construct of, hey, we'd like to have some advanced notification. I think we can provide that. I know I could provide that. What I can always provide is the minutia to the grant application at that time. I may not have that all put together until later on. And typically what will happen, the process is the COG will go around and do their grant presentations. And I think I referenced in the memo, that was on January 7th. So that's when they do the presentations to the jurisdictions. And then at that point, I had until the 13th of February. And unfortunately, we're very busy with FEMA. Most of the jurisdictions, we're all kind of struggling time-wise. That may not be the case next year. So when the next year comes and the grants open up, we'll have more time to come before you and say, hey, this is what we're looking at. What do you guys think about that? We just didn't have that this year.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay. Comments and questions on this?
I make a motion that we table the procedures of grant applications, the procedures for grant applications at this time.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Williams, table the grant application procedures. Second by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of tabling this to another time, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 13, consider an act on application of e-grants and related matters, which we kind of been all around on this topic. Mr. Shaw, you have any other comments on this or anything else the court needs to hear about?
Yes, sir. I can give you guys just a quick update. Last Thursday, we met at the over at the COG in Belton, and we scored the applications. And basically how that process works, for your knowledge, is all of the EMCs from the 7 counties, we all get together with the assistant director at the COG, and we score these individual applications. So everybody that applied, we look at what they asked for, and they can justify or kind of give us more insight on why they're asking for those things. And then the 7 of us score those applications. Based on that process, unofficially, we only had about $108,000 to share amongst all of the applicants. It looks like for Mills County, we received about $15,600, and that's unofficial. So basically what will happen now over the next few months, we will work with the COG and the governor's office to answer any questions that they may have. If they want more clarification on this funding or this item or whatever, we'll provide that information. And then sometime at the end of August, early September, Judge, you would receive an email through eGrants asking you to accept the funding that's been provided. And that provides another opportunity for you to circle everybody up, and you guys can make a final decision to accept the funding. So that's the process where we are right now, and that would wrap up around August, September, and then those funds would then become available October.
What you're saying is this is the next budget cycle.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions on this number? We're on number 13, consider an act on the application of e-grants and related matters. Well, we're not going to act on anything right now and make a motion. We table this for another time. I made a motion to table the application of e-grants. The second been made by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of tabling this for another time, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 14, Sheriff, you may want to come back up, or whoever's in charge of this one. Discussion of dispatch console grant for the LEC and related matters. And that's a great deal. I'm glad we got it, Sheriff, because the Sheriff and I talk quite often, and the term they use on our current dispatch console is its own Band-Aids. And it is. So Sheriff, go ahead and talk about this. And David Shaw, you too, you work on this too.
I'm not sure Band-Aids is the right terminology. Life support is something that I had in mind when we think about that. Motorola was here last week and we asked them what the status of all that was, and they called that the order review. Is what they called that. That's kind of where all of that is taken, what position it's in, I can say it that way. So in other words, they are looking at what it's going to take to assemble this thing. All of those things are being put in one place to start the assembly of the console. So when we say it in that manner, 60 to 90 days out, we should have some. So
And they come in and do training too for all your department on how to operate it.
Yes. So, David, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Sheriff, just one other note, at our meeting at the COG last Thursday, we talked about some of the funding, that had been approved previously and into this year. And one thing that we believe the executive committee at the COG and across the state, if you look at the state, portion of this funding for consoles, radio equipment, interoperability, it doesn't look like going forward, the governor's office is going to support the purchasing of these consoles and some of these other hardware apparatuses. So we're thankful we got ours approved, but I think going forward, the takeaway is those type of pieces of equipment, the maintenance of those consoles, the update and improvements of those are really going to have to be a budgeted item in your budget, because I don't think we're going to see that type of funding being approved going forward. They are really focusing on regional concepts in communication. So that means that if a project comes through that benefits the region, I believe they'll look at those. If it comes through for a console, they're probably not going to pay much attention to it. So just a good note to keep that in mind for going forward.
Thank goodness for that. That was a great relief for the taxpayers of Mills County not to have to pay that. So we're very thankful that we got in there when we did.
So are you recommending that we make sure that there's something in this next year's budget for this, or is this gonna fix everything, Amanda?
This should take care of most of the things that we have. This thing that's on my support down there, this should correct a lot of those things. So that's what.
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss on the dispatch console, Sheriff?
And if I was not mistaken, didn't y'all state that y'all were gonna, when they do the transfer that day, they were gonna have another county that rotates our 911 stuff while they move that in? And yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Okay.
That would cover us. Yeah.
Okay, commissioners, any other questions on the dispatch console agreement? Okay, moving on, number 15, discussion on procurement and budget process and related matters.
We've had a lot of discussion on procurement. And I go back, I still think that I will have to go back and check with legal but I'm pretty sure that we're adding these things up is not gonna be bidding procedures. I don't know. The budget process is one thing that the treasurer's wanting us to make sure that we've got covered. There is a whole packet that was sent out to y'all by the treasurer to review. There's also statement in the statute that says what we should go out for competitive bidding. And it doesn't say anything about it being one precinct or another precinct, one fund or another fund. It doesn't say that in the statute. But maybe Bill and I can get together and understand what that, I have a hard time reading statute sometimes and because it twists things up. So I think it was written by a lawyer, right?
Maybe.
But
I had a comment here.
yes, sir, go ahead.
I think a key concern in the statute is that counties don't take a project and divide it up into little pieces to avoid the cap. But clearly, I mentioned earlier, and I think Gerald agrees, he's gone, if you have different isolated projects that happen to be contracted out to the same person, that does not necessarily violate the cap. And the fact question is going to be, I think, whether the county is trying to avoid the cap. So if you have a road and bridge and then we have some other, like the handicap ramp out here, they arise from different circumstances. I don't think that violates the procurement statutes at all.
And again, of course, I've told Bill this, he's our county attorney, but our previous county attorneys did it for a long time. He had the same comments as what Bill's saying. He didn't see an issue with that on the 1888 jail for Louis Coronado doing that, along with doing bids on separate projects. Again, it's separate projects on these low water crossings. It's got no relation to that building.
Yeah, but he has done already projects for the courthouse and courthouse square this year.
Okay.
So you're adding, that's what I'm saying. It's just a fine line. We just want to make sure that we're not stepping over that line.
Yeah, I agree. We don't do everything.
And when Guy has done stuff for the courthouse, he's usually used tips or a buy board. And it hasn't been a problem in the past. Now that we're using a local person to do a lot of bids and stuff, and since they weren't posted, you see what I'm saying? We didn't post Louis to go apply for this. And all it takes is us just to put it in the newspaper for a couple of weeks.
Sure.
I mean, it's not that much, there's not a bigger step than that. And then we're covered. We're 100% covered. We don't even have to worry about it because we've posted it.
Yeah.
And just like when I did my low water crossings, he's the only one that applied, which we'll talk about later on.
Yeah.
You
Rural
know,
counties.
so then your full transparency.
Yes,
And I think that's what the courts wants us to do.
yes.
There's several, attorney general opinions that are out there. And so we just want to make sure, I think that, procurement seems to been coming up a lot here lately. The purchase of a new truck and trailer, the purchase of a new trailer, you see what I'm saying? It's just, the treasurer wants to make sure that we're all on the same page. If we had an auditor, they would be making sure you couldn't buy nothing without it, you know what I'm saying, without it being covered. So, since we have an outside auditor, I think that's what the discussion needs to be, is y'all need to be thinking of is, how does the treasurer make sure this is all done? Because she is our ultimate, since we don't have an auditor, it runs through her.
So the tractor for brush cutter, we most definitely gotta get,
I'm sorry.
but for the tractor, brush cutter tractor, we most definitely gotta do the bid process.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, but yeah. We had to go out for bids if we were gonna buy the trailer and a truck different. We were buying them together, but then it was gonna be over, and Dale got told a year ago that, hey, no, you can't buy that trailer from them because you're piecemealing them out. It was, you can't, same person, but they come up two different months, and they said, whoa, we can't do that, so. That's what the auditor, when Summer reached out to him at that time. So I'm a little bit confused on what the auditor's saying, what the lawyers are saying, and what the statute's saying. So we just need to make sure, and that's why she wants policy or procedures put in that. And back to what Dale's saying, we need to, maybe upgrade our handbook or something. And that would be laid out in there, what each department does.
Like your procurement bill is set on state. That's $50,000.
Yes, and then that is in legislature right now that could
That's
change.
changed,
Yes.
but they've been.
And then if that
They've been
changes,
going fast.
all this is a mute moment of all this stuff, so.
We ran into that over and over because when you start talking about heavy equipment, $50,000,
Yeah. So 200 would be great. Okay.
Well, I mean, I, like I said, I went through and talked to TAC and everything else, trying to figure this out too, so
I think
we just kind of.
what I've heard is tax says it's legal, but it's still got to be audited. You can do it, but it's gonna throw up a red flag in your office. And that's what the treasurer not to have.
And I talked to a guy named Justin, and he's like, at TAC legal, and he's like, we don't, just didn't put it out for bid. That was his recommendation, just put it out for bid and award it, then you're covered. And so you shouldn't be worrying about the little things, is what he's saying, so. That's all the discussion that I wanted to make sure. I want to make, I think we're going to be having this before the budget process continues in May or when it starts in May. So
Okay, all right. Moving on, discussion report on FEMA and related matters. David Shaw, you want to start that on what's the updates on FEMA?
Yes, sir, Judge. So FEMA progress is slow but steady. If you guys remember, probably of the 24 projects that we currently have in place, about 9 of those are related to work that was started shortly after the incident occurred, work that had kind of been completed. Our goal is to resolve all of those, meaning go ahead and get the funding, get the CRC process handled, and get those funds obligated at the state level. The other 11 or 12 projects are on hold basically because FEMA has not been able to upload the site inspection reports, mostly for precinct 2 and 3 work. So right now, Summer's team, myself, we've got 2-3 more projects that we're trying to close out. Once we get those closed out, we're basically at a place where I think I can transition the work that I'm doing and let Summer and her team pick it up and go forward. And if I need to help, they can always ask me. I'll come back and help. The goal has always been, let's get to a standardized process to where we can manage these projects in-house and not have to dedicate so much time. And I think we're getting closer, but it is a marathon, as you guys know. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay, commissioners, any comments you'll go on FEMA?
No.
No.
well, the only thing that I have, I think they're working on getting some of our stuff FEMA's reimbursed, but it's because I finished on mine, but I don't quite understand why my mitigation projects have been approved and other ones haven't. And that's what, David, I don't understand.
Commissioner Williams, yeah, so the FEMA works, they're kind of an enigma. You just don't really know what they're doing behind the curtain. And be honest, I would have never known that a mitigation inspection or report had been submitted had I not been just going through Grant's portal, looking at all the projects, trying to see where we were. They never notified us. We had no idea that they had done that. So yours is the only one that's been completed. I think partially it was because we provided them the TxDOT report that you received. We provided them that information, and that may have had.
I did not give them any TxDOT reports. They went and got that TxDOT. I don't know. I've never seen that TxDOT report. I still don't have that TxDOT report. So what they're referring to is that TxDOT report.
Yeah,
I'm glad they approved the project. I just don't know where
right.
the TxDOT report.
I uploaded, I remember uploading some of those TxDOT documents that you had received. I don't necessarily remember what roads they were for, to be honest with you. I get them, there's too many, but I do remember uploading some of those TxDOT documents. But we don't have any other mitigation reports that are currently uploaded. And the last word I received from the project manager at FEMA was that they were not going to do any more mitigation reports until all of the CRC work, the work on basically the roads that are under repair, until all that CRC costing and obligation is completed, they're not really going to move forward on mitigation 406 work. So that may have just been kind of an outlier that got dealt with. Not sure.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, commissioners, on FEMA discussion? Hearing none, let's move on to number 17, report from precinct 4, low water crossing bids and related matters.
So reached out, got put out for bids in January for 3 low water crossings. I did these for the FEMA to get information on these. They ran in the newspaper, yada yada. I've got all that. Only one applicant returned any bids, and that was Louis Coronado Construction. Only 2 of these were approved by mitigation. So only 2 of, so one of them does not matter. So 530 was approved And so Louis' bid on that was 28,000, dividing partial payment on it. The other one was County Road 508. That was materials cost and everything was 54,000. And again, there's a partial payment on that to receive. So those, want to be put in the record that those bids were received by Louis Coronado Construction.
Okay. Anything else? That's it. Number 18, Commissioners' request and report. Start it off, Commissioner Sullivan.
Well, we're hauling base material on 506 and keep hauling today, and then possibly next week we will start spreading it out. Cleaning, and then we're gonna move to another county road and start hauling on that.
Okay, Commissioner Head.
Well, we finished up our little project on 333. We put a 10 horn in on 249, and hauled quite a bit, build that up. We did another 2 10 horns on 323. And then, we hauled some material down into, low water crossing where the material's gone, getting pretty slick, and then we're finishing up on that little hauling project, and, I guess this week I'll take over the grinder and, we'll start working on some ramp.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Barton.
We've had the grinder, had a little longer than we're supposed to because of the storms and weather, but basically we've hauled, about 45 loads of the wrap out of Craig's file down here, or county file. And we put it in various places, 2 of the streets in Pretty, 2 of the streets in Mullen, and, on County Road 130, Tommy Mangum's Hill. I've already apologized to the people until it gets hot and stuff is working good in bladder areas.
Yeah.
It's not setting to that hill.
It's still cold too, yeah.
I try and blade it every time we get a chance until we get temperatures hot enough to
Make it seal it.
redissolve, but,
Yeah.
we all 45 loads out of there. I would recommend, I guess this is where we do that, reports and requests, that everybody hauls, keep up with their load count. You know, so that everybody knows kind of where everybody's at there. There's a lot of material, there's a lot more material than they said. Because we've hauled 45 loads at 20.
About ready?
There's a lot more than that on that
You
going.
know, we questioned that already, Texas, I don't know how to add.
But anyway, we're finished with that, haul a mile of Quincy or had Scott down there was in payable. Up on 130, we like about a mile having that road 100% complete. But now I've been told that we don't want 100% complete roads with the FEMA stuff, so that's kind of questionable. But, that's the only way we can get stuff out there to get it paid that I see. But anyway, staying busy, had a bad week last week, we just renamed it Parton's Portable Tree Service. I'm sure we probably cut out and got at least 30 trees off. Yeah.
2 days, 2 days worth.
Anyway, that's all.
Okay, Commissioner Williams.
Mine's kind of long since I wasn't here last Commissioners Court, and I apologize for that. We did right of way work on 531, replaced a culvert on 416, added 2 new culverts to 508 and 532. Did some machine work on our track loader, got it back from Abilene Hydraulics and Warren Cat, which I think you've seen some bills in payables. Went to the State of Texas Child Welfare Board conference that was last week, along with 2 other Mills County representatives. Also visited the legislator and talked about some bills, good bills and bad bills from Mills County. some bills that will affect us all is the minimum wage, House Bill 812. Bill that will, you can look at it two different ways. H Bill 811 is lobbying, and that'll take away tax ability to lobby in some aspects of it. So, and there's a couple bills on the Information Act that will affect your office a lot and the sheriff's office. So those bills not need to be watched. There's a water conservation bill that's gaining a lot of ground in subdivisions. And also Senate Bill 253 has to do with flag lots in subdivisions. So those are going to be ones, a ton of elections, a ton of ad valorem taxes. And then there's some stuff that's going to affect DFPS and social services things with tree trimming, and like Dale said, I did a lot of that. We've got some more coming up. We've got some high winds on Wednesday, I believe, is what the judge was saying earlier. And now we're doing pre-road work on 550, getting ready to haul a bunch of material out on 550. I think I'd like to request that a handbook meeting take place, and that would, I think, Melissa, you're on that right now. Yeah. Melissa and Sonia, myself, and Summer is on that, that we start that process, since I was under that, understanding to do that. Sonia's made a couple of things, and now Dale has made a comment, so I think I'd like to make that request. So I'll get with Summer on that and see if we can get that. The other request is for March the 17th. I'd like to have a road and bridge workshop and safety training meeting that day. That is a Monday. It's in between the commissioners' courts. And then that week, at that time, the reason I want to have that workshop is that we can plan for the summer a little bit, what we're going to do with this wrap material, and start talking that conversation a little bit, and, you know, those safety procedures. I haven't worked with it, but I would like to know a little bit from y'all instead of setting it
Where you gonna have your meeting at?
just here in this room.
Here, okay, Mr. Ford, okay.
Yeah, and so if anybody, and I'll send that out,
Okay,
and if as an email, and if y'all can't and that day's bad, then we can look at another day. But that's the report that I have at this time. Sorry I took so long.
okay. Number 19, County Judges Report. Last week I was at an LCRA Judges Conference. About 40 judges were there. And every county has the same problems we have: subdivisions, road issues, water issues, mainly population increases affecting every county's infrastructure. And, you know, I wish it's the old days, but it's hard for us to do a lot with the population coming to Mills County too. A lot of issues there. Cars, our Central Texas Rural Transit District's going good. I spread the word, it's free transportation for all Mills County citizens for 60 days. They'll go through March and April. And as Commissioner Williams alluded to, this week's going to be extreme fire danger, very high winds. They're saying up to again to 40 miles per hour Wednesday and whatnot. So everybody who's listening in, be careful with outside activities.
I have one more thing.
Yes.
I think this was Robert. So I got a bill last Wednesday for Bruckner's. And it went to, what does it say? Livestock, Comanche Livestock. Y'all paid it in the bill's last bill. But I'm trying to just, you made the comment that we weren't getting any, that everything that he'd done before was free in the last.
Well, that's a part.
Oh, so you're just saying labor?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't, you just said everything that he did before that was free.
Well, but I mean, that was a part that was already went through.
Well, I mean, I'm just.
But I mean, when we were.
I didn't know why it was sent to me though.
I don't know why, because I've already got it
It's already been
paid.
paid,
Yeah,
but it was sent to me last week, so I thought maybe you got a different part.
no, but he ordered the injectors and everything. And,
Are they gonna be billed to us or? is-
yeah, they'll be billed to us. But I mean,
Because that one's not billed from the guy that's working on it, that's billed from Rutgers.
yeah, I mean,
He bought it from.
So we're not getting a bill from him, we're just getting a bill from Rutgers, gotcha.
and, I called him about it, and he said, well, his Rutgers had to order it too, so. Either one,
Okay, number 20, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
second.
All those in favor of adjourn, say aye.